Janandana Shalakaya Chachurnitam Nina Tasme Shri Gurudi Nama Chachurnitam Tasme Shri Gurudi Nama Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutali Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namini Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutali Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nivishesha Sunyavadi Prasachadi Shatadini Sunyavadi Prasachadi Shatadini Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Charana Padma Bandhu Mode Savadana Ati Baba Toriya Krishna Prati Ho Jaha Aiti Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chite Te Koriya Kya Padma Arana Koriyo Mani Asha Arana Koriyo Mani Asha Shri Guru Charane Rate Aise Uttama Gati Je Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Sade Pure Sarva Asha Je Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Chakudana Diloji Jame Jame Prabhu Si Chakudana Diloji Jame Jame Prabhu Si Divagana Hire To Prasito Prima Bhakti Jaha Hote Avinashi Rasa Jati Bhakti Jaha Hote Avinashi Rasa Vedega Jahara Charito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Najara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Aha Prabhu Guru Doya Diho More Parachaya Aha Prabhu Guru Doya Diho More Parachaya Ebe Gasha Gushu Tivubana Ebe Gasha Gushu Tivubana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Siva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Siva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Prabhu Nityananda Siyaveta Gadada Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramsa Parvitacharya Astutam Sati Shri Srimad Avacharya Charantinda A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramsa Parvitacharya Astutam Sati Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Thakur ki jai. Ananto Vijayendra ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Saho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Aveta Gadadara Siva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Gopishan Ramakunda Radhakunda Kibidodan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadip Dham ki jai. Mathura Dham ki jai. Dwaka Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Gangamar ki jai. Yamunamar ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tusmirani ki jai. Samaveda Bhaktavinda ki jai. Gaura Premanandi, Hari Bol. All glories to Samla Devotee, Hare Krishna. All glories to Samla Devotee, Hare Krishna. All glories, Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. The Lord Sesha Sunyavari Pasacha Deshatadini. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way which can attain pure devotion service. I bow to his lotus feet with great and honorable reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish to have my conscience purified by the water and rays from his lotus mouth. Attachment to the lotus feet is our protection that fulfill all desire. He opened my darkened eyes and filled my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, brought after birth, from inautenticity and remains from ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic singer of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend and poor and Lord and master of devotee. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your frame has spread out retrieval. You take shelter of your lotus feet. Your receiver is most fallen. Jagat Guru, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Smirani ki jai. Brindaya Tulsi Devyaya Priyake Shivadicha Krishna Bhakti Devi Satya Bachaya Namo Namah. Brindaya Tulsi Devyaya Priyake Shivadicha Vishnu Bhakti Devi Satya Bachaya Namo Namah. Vrindaya Tulsi Devyaya Priyake Shivadicha Vishnu Bhaktavati Devi Satyabacha Namo Namah. Dusmirani Ki Jai. Namo Namah. Tulasi Krishna Preyase Namo Namah. Radha Krishna Seva Prabhu Iya Vilase. Je tumhara sharanalo taram vancha purna ho. Kripa kori guru tari Vrindavanavasi. Murai Abilas Bilas Kunja Dihovas. Naya he Ivo Sada Rupa Ruparasi. Ivo Sada Ruparasi. Danadaro Saki Andugata Kuru. Sevadikara de Koro Nijadasi. Dina Krishna Dasi ko Jai Namuraho. Radha Govinda Premi Sada Inavasi. Shri Radha Govinda Premi Sada Inavasi. Dani kani cha papa ni brahma karitani cha dani tani jana sante parishina pari pari. Yani kani cha papa ni brahma karitani cha dani tani jana sante parishina pari pari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi. Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani. Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani. Smarani ki jai. Sri Vrindaya Tulsi Devi Aya Piya Ke Shivadicha Vishnu Bhaktvari Devi Sachabacha Namo Namah. Tulsi. Sri Vrindaya Tulsi Devi Aya Piya Ke Shivadicha Vishnu Bhaktvari Devi Sachabacha Namo Namah. Sri Vrindaya Tulsi Devi Aya Piya Ke Shivadicha Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Sachabacha Namo Namah. Tulsi Rani ki jai. O Tulsi, beloved of Krishna, devotee you again and again. My desire to obtain the sorrow of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes out of you has the wish for the full bestowing and mercy of him. You make the resident of Vrindavan. My desire is that we always grant me resident in the precious grove of Sri Vrindavan Dham. I will be all the pastime of beautiful pastime of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make the follow recorded answer of Radha. Please give me the privilege of devotion and service and make your own me servant. This very form and love of Krishna may always swim in the love of Sri Radha and Govinda. Sri ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashachari Shatarine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha शून्यवारी पश्यचारे शतारिणी
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौरा भक्त वृंद
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौरा भक्त वृंद
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Hare Rama Rama Rama
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So we want to welcome all the devotees this morning to our Sunday Love Feast here at Hare Krishna Study Center. So today's program is a continued observance, celebration of the appearance of one of our acharyas, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is the spiritual master or the guru of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada being the founder acharya of ISKCON, or International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So his appearance day was last Friday. So there was a midday program on that day. But today also we'll continue to remember, reflect, and remember him for the sacrifice he made, and also for his determination in wanting to spread the teachings of Krishna consciousness throughout the world, especially to the Western world, or this side, of the planet. So we'll do one bhajan, which glorifies the Vaishnavas, or our acharyas. So we'll read the translation, to this bhajan, and then we'll go for the singing. So it's Oye Vaishnava Thakur from Sharanagati. It says, O Venerable Vaishnava Thakur, O Ocean of Mercy, be merciful to me, your servant, and purify me by the shade of your lotus feet. Your feet I humbly hold. Controlling my 6 urges and purifying me of the 6 faults, please give to your servant the 6 good qualities. Oh, give me the 6 kinds of holy association. I have sat down here in the hope of having your company. Alone I find I have no strength to chant the holy name of Lord Hari. I beg you therefore, please be merciful, and with a particle of faith, give me the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours. You have the power to give him to me, for such is your power. I am indeed wretched, and simply run after you, crying, Krishna, Krishna. So this is a beautiful bhajan by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So we're hoping that we'll have the verses on screen, so everyone can at least try to follow. If you can see on the screen here, the Bengali words are there. Oye Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Saghara Idhasi Karuna Kori Oye Vaishnava Thakura
Doyara Sangara Edasi Karuna Kore.
Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sagara Idhase Karuna Kori.
Oe Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sara Edase Karuna Kore.
Diya Parachaya Shurhaye Amaya Tomara Charana Dhori.
Diya Parachaya Shurhaye Amaya Tomara Charana Dhori.
দিয়া ফাদ ছায়া সুর হয়ে আমায়া তোমার চরণ ধরি
दिया पर छाया शुर है अमाया तुम्हारा चरण दूरी
ओये वैष्णव ठाकुरा दयारा सगारा एरासे करुणा कोरी
होए वैष्णव तकोरा दोयारा संगारा ए दासी करुणा कोरे
छाया भेगधोमी छाया धोषा शोधे छाया गुना देहोदासी
जय विगतोमि जय दोषशोधि जय गुणादि उदासी
छाय भेगधोमी छाय धोषा शोधे छाय गुना देहोदासी
जय विगतोमि जय दुषशोधि जय गुणादि उदासी
छाय सत्संगा देहोए आमारे भूसचे संगिराशे
जय सत्संगा देयो है हमारे बुझे संगार आसे
छाय सत्संगा देहोए आमारे भूसचे संगिराशे
जय सत्संगा देयो है हमारे बुझे संगैर आशे
ओये वैष्णव ठाकुरा दोयर सागर एधासी करुणा कोरी
होए वैष्णव तकोरा दोयारा संगारा वेदसे करुणा कोरे
ओये वैष्णव ठाकुरा दोयर सागर एधासी करुणा कोरी
होए वैष्णव तकोरा दोया संगारा
एधासी
करुणा कोरे
एकाकी हमारा नहीं पाया भला हरि नम संकीर्तने
एक की हमारा नहीं पाय बाला हरि नाम संकीर्तने
एकाकी हमारा नहीं पाया भला हरि नाम संकीर्तने
एक की हमारा नहीं पाय बाला हरि नाम संकीर्तने
तुमि कृपा करे शारदा बिंदुरेया देहो कृष्ण नाम धने
तुम्हें कृपा कोरे श्ररा बिंदु दिया दियो कृष्ण नाम दाने
तुमि कृपा करे शारदा बिंदुरेया देहो कृष्ण नाम धने
तुम्हें कृपा कोरे स्वरा बिंदु दिया दियो कृष्ण नाम दाने
ओये वैष्णव ठाकुरा धोयर सगारा एरासे करुणा कोरी
ओए वैष्णव ठाकुरा Doya Sangara Vedasi Karuna Kore
Oye Vaishnava Thakura Thoya Rasagara Hirasi Karuna Kori
Oye Vaishnava Thakura Doya Sangara Vedasi Karuna Kore
Krishna se tomara Krishna rit paro tomara shakatiya che
Krishna se tumhara Krishna deti paro Tumhara shakatiya che
Krishna se tomara Krishna dhite paro tomara shakatiya che
Krishna se tumhara Krishna deti paro Tumhara shakatiya che
Ami to kangala Krishna Krishna bole dai tava pache pache
Hami to Kangala Krishna Krishna bole Daitava pache pache
Ami to kangala Krishna Krishna bole dai tava pache pache
Hami to Kangala Krishna Krishna bole Daitava pache pache
Oye Vaishnava Thakura Thoya Rasagara Hirasi Karuna Kori
Hoye Vaishnava Thakura Doya Sangara Vedasi Karuna Kore
Oye Vaishnava Thakura Thoya Rasagara Hirasi Karuna Kori
Hoye Vaishnava Thakura Doya Rasangara Vedasi Karuna Kore
Diya Parachaya Shodaya Maya Tomara Charana Dhori
Diya Parachaya Sur hai hamara Tumhara charan dhori
Diya Parachaya Shodaya Maya Tomara Charana Dhori
Diya Parachaya Sur hoya maya Tumhara charan dhori
Oye Vaishnava Thakura Thoya Rasagara Hirasi Karuna Kori
Oye Vaishnava Thakura Doya Rasangara Vedasi Karuna Kore
Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur
Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur
Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta
Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada
Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. So this is a wonderful bhajan because we can see that the whole mood of the bhajan is to seek the blessings, or to pray for the blessings and the mercy of the acharyas, our previous acharyas, spiritual masters, because by their blessings then we can able to practice our own daily sadhana, our spiritual life. We can able to practice on a daily basis, and also we can able to spread the message, or to share the message with others by their blessings, by their well wishing. And not only that, one of the important things that is mentioned here also is that we are praying, so that we can also become disciplined, or self-controlled, that we can imbibe the qualities, the devotional qualities, or qualities that will enhance or aid in our practice of Krishna consciousness. So this is the significance. This is a prayer to the Vaishnavas, to the Thakurs, to the Vaishnava Thakurs, seeking their blessings in that way. So we'll do one prayer, another short bhajan, Jai Radha Madhava. So after which we'll hear from two speakers some presentations, some of the pastimes, some information about who Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was, what were some of his contributions, and also how can we honor him on this occasion. That of course it was Friday, as we said, but then we're here. Not everyone could have make it on Friday, so that's why we kind of extend the program for today, so that more devotees can be part of honoring Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So we can do Jai Radha Madhava together. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana.
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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Shri Radhe.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Sri Radhe.
Jaya Parama Karuna, Jaya Nitai Gaurachandra, Jaya Parama Karuna, Jaya Nitai Gaurachandra.
Jaya Parama Karuna, Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra, Jaya Parama Karuna, Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So at this time I would like to invite one of our devotees here His Grace Damodar Krishna Prabhu to first of all. So you'll be hearing from him, and also we'll be hearing from His Grace Haridas Prabhu. So Haridas Prabhu not just arrived a few days back, and he's here with us once again. So we're very happy to have him here. And so first of all, we want to invite Damodar Krishna Prabhu. So Damodar Krishna Prabhu would have joined Krishna consciousness a quite bit of years ago, maybe about 10 years or even more than that, and originally from West Coast, the West Side as they will say. And he would have went to India and took training for a few years, came back here maybe 3-4 years ago. Now he's into Grihastha Ashram, and he's studying, he's working, and he's practicing, he's preaching, all of that. He's setting a good example for all of us. So we want to welcome Damodar Krishna Prabhu. You can please come forward. So he'll be sharing with us a little on the life of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, after which we'll have one bhajan, and then also we'll hear a little from His Grace Haridas Prabhu. So we can all welcome Damodar Krishna Prabhu loudly together in our usual way. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. So after Radhamadhava, we usually do the what is that prayer called? Yeah, so I'll chant that. Jam Vishupara Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Charishutara Shishimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder, BBT founder, Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Charishutara Shishimad. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namachara Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसरि गौर भक्त बिन की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंज राधा कुंज गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथ पुरी धाम की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। अयोध्या धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की जय। सामवेद गौड़ भक्त बिन की जय। श्री युगधर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to some devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to some devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to some devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Patita Pavan Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Miritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shriuta Parakamalam Shri Gun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunatam Mitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamsha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatare Shatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratashe Namah. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Everyone, raise your hands. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narnamaskritam naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamuriyaye. Nashapraisho badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati tamashloke bhakti bhavati naishiki Krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nanda gopakumaraya govindaya namo namah. So, Hare Krishna everybody. Welcome again to the Sunday Love Feast. And today, since we're speaking about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I brought a very wonderful book here. It's called the Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav. It's written by His Holiness Bhakti Vikash Maharaj, who's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And after Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, he did a biography. You know, he went and did the research and found out everything about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, and this book is in 3 volumes. So, in respect to Maharaj and also to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we're just going to chant 4 more mantras and then we'll begin. Nama Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhana Devi Daitya Kripa Bande Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhya Durvujwala Prema Madhya Shri Rupa Nuga Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtadi Natarine Rupa Nuga Virudaya Apasiranta Tvantaharine. And the translation: I salute him who is unknown in this world as His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, who is of the same status as Lord Vishnu and who is most dear to Lord Krishna. I offer homage to him whose eternal identity is Srila Varsabhavani Devi Dayate, one who is very dear to Srimati Radharani, the daughter of Maharaj Vrishabhanu, who is powerful, an ocean of transcendental mercy, and a deliverer of the science of Krishna. O giver of Srila Rupa Goswami's treasure of bhakti, who is replete with divine love of Radha and Krishna, I bow to you, the very form of Lord Chaitanya's mercy potency. I offer homage to you, the manifestation of Lord Chaitanya's word, the savior of the fallen souls, and the remover of the darkness of the incorrect conclusions that oppose the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami. So first of all, I would like to admit that I'm not very qualified to speak on such a great personality as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But being asked by the devotees and also for the pleasure of my Guru and Srila Prabhupada, I will say something. And Sachi Sutta mentioned that Haridas Prabhu is supposed to give the speech after me. But out of respect, you know, one of the qualities of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was very respectful, you know. And he would call Srila Prabhupada his Prabhu. You know, he is the spiritual master, but he's calling the disciple Prabhu. So I'm requesting Haridas Prabhu if he would like to speak first. I'm giving him the opportunity as a senior Vaishnava here, because in the midst of senior, we should act like a fool. We should not try to present ourselves higher than the senior. So with permission from Haridas Prabhu, I will continue to speak, and Prabhuji is giving his permission. So I did some reading of this book, and I compiled a few pastimes here, so I'll just read a few of these statements that I've written. So the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta was celebrated on Friday, right? Friday the 10th of February, and most people were busy at work and stuff, so we didn't have time. And we had a program here, but I don't know how many of us got to attend that program and hear about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And it was a half day of fasting, so whoever got a chance to complete that fasting will get immense benefit, because when we read the scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all these scriptures are describing about the Lord and His devotees, right? And that is also Bhagavatam, to hear about the glories of the devotees, right? So it's a continuation of Bhagavatam, and one who hears Bhagavatam, he becomes immortal. So if we can hear about the life and the teachings of these great acharyas and Vaishnavas, we can get immense mercy and benefit to help us in our own spiritual life. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was, he advented, he took birth in the year 1874 on the 6th of February, right? And he left this world in on the 1st of January 1937. So he gave us his darshan, his association for around 63 years, you know, and we should consider ourselves very fortunate to have had that kind of association of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because what he represented was the hope, right? He is called, sometimes called a ray of Vishnu. Because we have to understand the context when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur appeared. At that time, after Mahaprabhu left, and Nityananda Prabhu was preaching very vigorously, and other acharyas came, Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda Pandit, Srivas Thakur, so many preachers were there. But after Mahaprabhu left, you know, the movement kind of started to decline, right? Different kind of asampradayas came up, different groups, you know, and they were following things that were not mentioned by Mahaprabhu, and so many deviations came. We got something called upper sampradayas, you know, many different upper sampradayas, and they would do different mantras, different customs, and they had basically changed the movement of Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu said like that the Sankirtan movement will come in waves. There will be a peak, and then there will be a low point, and then there will be a peak again. So after Mahaprabhu left, there was a decline, until to the point of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the father of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, right? And he was preaching so much Namahatha centers and all these things. And after some time, what happened was that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he did a lot of writing. He wrote the teachings and precepts of Lord Chaitanya. He sent it to the university in Canada. But in his heart was burning that the prophecy of Mahaprabhu, that his holy name will be chanted in every town and village. As many as there are towns and villages in the world, his holy name will be chanted. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was feeling very heavy in his heart that he had not done so much for preaching, you know, in the Western countries, and he desired that all these different races, the Russians, the Africans, everybody will be jumping and chanting the name of Gaura Hari. But this did not manifest in his life. So he began to, you know, pray to the Lord with all sincerity and begging the Lord to send someone. All right, it was a hopeless time. So when it's hopeless, or when the sky is dark, what gives us hope? the sunlight again coming through, right? So Bhaktisiddhanta represents that light that comes. He's a ray of Vishnu, the ray of hope. And he's, some consider him to be a Shakshavesh avatar. Well, he is a Shakshavesh avatar, right? He's the energy of Gauranga, Gaura Shakti. And he's come to clear the clouds that had come and covered the pure teachings of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So he was born as Bimal Prasad. Bimal Prasad Dutt, D-A-T-T-A, in what is now Orissa, Jagannath Puri. You know, he took birth in Jagannath Puri. At that time, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was staying there as a monastery, and he was serving the British. And his house is not far from Jagannath Temple. Those who have been to Jagannath Puri, where the temple is on the left, the Jagannath Marg is a huge road which they host the Ratha Yatra. So right after Jagannath Temple, if you continue walking a little bit up the road, like from here to UG, you will find the birthplace of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And they have a Gaudiya Math temple there, right? To commemorate that site as a holy place that this great personality took birth. Now at birth, his name was Bimal Prasad Dutt. Bimala Prasad Dutt. So anybody know what the meaning of this name, Bimala? Anyone? Bimala Devi, yes. So if you know the pastime of Lord Jagannath, when Narad Muni requested Lord Vishnu to give him some Mahaprasad, he gave that Mahaprasad to Lord Shiva, and then Lord Shiva was dancing very ecstatically. And when Mother Parvati saw that her husband Lord Shiva was dancing so ecstatically, she asked him, did you bring any Mahaprasad for me? And Lord Shiva didn't bring any for her. So you know when you didn't come home and you went somewhere, you didn't bring anything for your wife, you're in trouble, right? So Durga Devi became very angry and she was about to destroy the material world. And that time, Lord Vishnu himself came to her and he said, don't worry. In the Kali Yuga, I will come as wood. I will come in the form of a wooden form, Jagannath. And my Mahaprasad will be distributed to everybody, even the dogs. But it will not become Mahaprasad unless it is offered to you. So if you go behind Jagannath temple, there is the temple of Bimala Devi, which represents Durga Devi or Parvati. And after they offer the Mahaprasad to Jagannath, they bring the Mahaprasad to Bimala Devi and then they distribute it to everybody. And you can go there and see for your own eyes that even the dogs and the monkeys and the cows, everybody get Jagannath Mahaprasad, right? So similarly, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is that mercy of Lord Jagannath, but in the form of Siddhanta. The conclusions, the truths of the revealed scriptures. And some even say that he, a little more esoteric, that Bhaktisiddhanta is a vision of Srimati Radharani when she looks at Krishna. He is the vision of Radharani personified, right? So it's clear vision. So when he took birth in Jagannath Puri, there's a famous pastime in his childhood that the Ratha Yatra cart was coming up past his house because he's living right on the street, and the cart stopped in front of this house. And for 3 days, this cart would not move. For 3 days, right? No, sometimes we do Jagannath in Borabis or Essequibo. We try to finish in 1 day, right? Even half day, couple hours, we try to finish the Ratha Yatra. But 3 days, they couldn't move this cart. They brought so many bulls, they brought strong men, everybody tried to move, but nobody could move this cart. Not until the mother of Bhaktisiddhanta, I'm now forgetting her name, but she's the wife of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, she brought the baby out to take darshan of Jagannath. And as she's holding the baby to take the Lord darshan, the garland of Lord Jagannath break from the deity's neck and fell upon this baby. So this is how uncommon Bhaktisiddhanta was, that he's not an ordinary soul, he's not a jiva, he's a nitya siddha. And he came especially to deliver the knowledge of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the jiva, right? And if you can take some time out to get this book, I don't know if it's available here in Guyana, or we should make it available to read about this personality. It can give us great inspiration in our devotional service. So growing up, how I put this lecture is to show the qualities of Bhaktisiddhanta, because many times we talk the pastimes, but we don't hear about the qualities. So how uncommon he was this pastime of the garland, but how determined he was. Because Prabhupada said our determination is very important in Krishna consciousness. You have to be determined to push forward, right? And Bhaktisiddhanta was so determined when he was a child. He had a mango tree in his yard. Mango, right? And he saw this ripe mango, and as any child, you would pick it up and start eating. So when he picked up this mango and started to eat, immediately his father came and chastised him. Srila Bhaktivinoda, why are you eating this mango just like this? You should not eat anything unless it's offered to Krishna. And from that day, Bhaktisiddhanta, he never ever touched back mango. He was so determined that his father, chastised him, you shouldn't eat this mango unless you offer it to Krishna. He kept that in his mind. So sometimes our determination is a little bit weak. We say we're going to wake up every day 4 o'clock. And then the alarm ringing and, we just snooze and go back to sleep, right? We're not so determined, right? So his quality of determination was very profound, and he was able to keep up that vow for his whole life. And none of us make the mistake of offering mangoes to him on his appearance day. So his knowledge, he was a very knowledgeable person. At the age of 7, he was able to memorize the entire Bhagavad Gita. Not just memorize, he was able to also to give commentary on the Bhagavad Gita at the age of 7. At the age of 12, he composed a book called Surya Siddhanta. He gave commentary, but he completed his commentary at the age of 12. And this book is the basis of astrology, right? Mathematics. It teaches the movements of the sun. And it's a very profound book also, very important book. All the different sects of astrology, they would reference this book. Right? So this is the intelligence of Bhaktisiddhanta. And later on in his later years, he was such a profound reader that the Ramakrishna mission, which is mostly Mayavadis, they don't really believe that the Lord is a person. They believe that the Lord is a light. And Bhaktisiddhanta, they had a library, so much knowledge, right? And he would go to this library, and he was such a ferocious reader, right? He read all the books in his library. All the books. And up to today, in the library of the Ramakrishna Mission, they have a picture with Bhaktisiddhanta inside. And they, at the bottom, they put the most convinced personalist. He was such a personalist that he was always fighting to establish that the Lord was a person, that the Lord is not just a light or some energy. No, the Lord is a living person with qualities and paraphernalia and everything. So this is some of the knowledge aspect of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Now, his boldness, he was very bold. When he was very small, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's guru, his name was Vipin Bihari Babaji. Right? And Vipin Bihari, he was not a Nityasiddha, he was an ordinary jiva, and Bhaktisiddhanta knew this, and we all know that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the 7 Goswami. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, any disciple comes before the guru, you bow down to the guru, right? You have to show respect to your guru. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur bowed down to Vipin Bihari and he left, Bhaktisiddhanta came to Vipin Bihari. And he told Vipin Bihari, he said, how dare you allow my father to bow down to you? You are just a jiva. My father is an associate of Lord Krishna. And he chastised the guru of his father. Who has that boldness to chastise, not just your father, chastise the guru of his father. So he was performing all these uncommon acts, and he's not ordinary. This shows us that he's not ordinary, And many of us may not have noticed, but Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta, obviously, they came in the lineage, the family lineage of Narottam Das Thakur. Right? And we all know Narottam Das Thakur, how the struggles he went through to get a guru. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta also went through the same kind of struggles. Right? The same, the struggles of getting the spiritual master. The guru would reject him and they had to serve the guru very meanly. Right? And also he also preached, after the guru accepting both his guru and the guru of Narottam Das Thakur is Lokanath Swami, right, Sachi? Lokanath Goswami is the guru of Narottam Das Thakur. Both of these gurus were not accepting disciples. And Bhaktisiddhanta almost forced Gaura Kishore Das Babaji to accept him. And Narottam Das Thakur also did the same thing. So we can draw, a little parallel in the lives of these two personalities. And both of them became very profound preachers and writers. So many songs sung by Narottam Das Thakur. There are also so many literatures by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. One of them, which is very important, we have the Brahma Samhita, right? In ISKCON, we distribute this book, the Brahma Samhita, very advanced English. Bhaktisiddhanta was such a good person in English language. He used to train the British to speak in Parliament, right? And if you read, I don't know how many of you have read this Brahma Samhita. Inside this book, the language is so advanced, right? I'll just read a piece to give you an idea, right? One paragraph. I'll just read here. Just listen. I'm not reading it to try to confuse you, but to show you the level of scholarship and how Bhaktisiddhanta actually presented Krishna consciousness in a very scholarly way, right? So this is the foreword to the Brahma Samhita. He says, the materialistic demeanor cannot possibly stretch to the transcendental autocrat who is ever inviting the fallen conditioned souls to associate with him through devotion or eternal serving mood. The phenomenal attractions are often found in temp, sentient beings to enjoy the variegated position of which is opposed to the undifferentiated monism. So anybody understood anything there? You had to probably get dictionary to get some of those words, right? But why he did that, he wanted to bring back the credibility of the Vaishnavas. Because people were losing respect for Vaishnavas. After Mahaprabhu left, everybody was becoming Babajis. Nobody was following the institution of Varnashram. So what was the problem with the Babajis? That they were chanting a lot of wrongs in imitation of Haridas Thakur. But because they had not purified themselves enough, they were having a lot of problems. They were having a lot of trouble. Right? And as Shyam Prabhu was explaining to me in the car, he was explaining how when Gaura Kishore Das Babaji, who is the guru of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, when he had passed away, he told the Babajis that if anybody want to touch his body who hasn't did some illicit connection with woman in the last 6 months, you can touch his body. Right? Or in the last month or the last week or the last night, if anybody didn't do, you can touch his body. And none of them could touch his body. Right? So one thing which Bhaktisiddhanta did was to accept sannyasi. Right? And when he accepted sannyasi, he brought back the institution of Varnashram Dharma. Right? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. And he started back the Gaudiya Mat, where he had the Brahmacharis and he also had Grihastha. Because the human society is nice, is okay, is good, but you need Varnashram to keep the structure. Or in a simple example given by Bhaktivikash Maharaj, he said that it's nice to take your prasadam. Everybody likes prasadam, right? So it's nice to take prasadam. Everybody can take prasad, but if you take prasadam without a plate, is it going to be fun? Just imagine somebody throw the rice and the dal in your hand. You go walk out? Not really, right? So Varnashram Dharma was like a plate to keep the social structure, right? But not just Varnashram, Devi Varnashram, meaning that Krishna is at the top. And once you remove Krishna from the top, then you get the corrupted version of Varnashram, which is the Indian caste system, right? And this is wreak havoc in India, because when you remove Krishna, it becomes a system of exploitation. Even in a marriage, Krishna at the top, and the husband and wife, they would see the Lord. The wife would see the Lord, the husband as a representative of Lord Narayan, and the husband should see the wife as a representative of Lakshmi Devi. So when you follow Varnashram in that way, or the marriage is also part of Varnashram, when you remove Krishna, it becomes exploitive. The husband see the wife as a servant, and the wife see the husband as an ATM machine. Right? So we do not want to have that corruption, right? And Bhaktisiddhanta came to stop that. And the first thing he did was to accept sannyas. None of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas were accepting sannyas at that point. Everybody was trying to be Babaji and chant, but they were having problems. So, continuing, the renunciation of Bhaktisiddhanta. When he accepted sannyas, he decided to go in Mayapur to chant. And he went to the Yoga Pit, which is the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was at the age of 31. And there he chanted 3 lakh holy name, 192 rounds every day, for 9 years. For 9 years he would chant, he would observe Chaturmas, and he would eat rice cooked with ghee off of the floor. This is a specific custom in following his Chaturmas, that the devotees would bring the rice, and that rice was cooked with ghee and salt, and it was put on the floor. Well, obviously cow dung floor, but he would eat off the floor like a cow. And all of these was to enhance his potency, you know. Even though he was such a great siddha, still he came to show us the way also, how we can perfect ourselves. For 9 years he engaged in his bhajan in Mayapur. And after that time, then he started to open up the Gaudiya Maths and all these things. And when he opened up the Gaudiya Maths, there was great opposition. Because in India, because we have the caste system there, the smarta brahmanas, which were the brahmanas who were very orthodox, and they believe that you can only be brahmana by janma. You have to be born brahmana. And Bhaktisiddhanta was fighting this point. Because in Kali Yuga, Kalu Sudra Sambhava, everybody is Sudra. Nobody is born Brahmana. Even the Brahmanas are born Shudra. You become Brahmana by training, by going through the process. It's not because your father is a doctor that means you're a doctor. Right? And even your father, he had to go through the training, and also you have to go through medical school and become qualified, right? So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he got these Brahmanas angry. You know, they became very angry with him. And at one point in time in Navadvip, they were doing Harinam through the streets of Navadvip, and the Brahmanas had planned to attack him. Right? And this shows his tolerance. Right? Just like Haridas Thakur or Jesus Christ. These people started to throw stones from all directions when the Harinam party going out, right? And the devotees started to run and hide and, you know, try to protect Bhaktisiddhanta because he's a very important personality. And one of the disciples, Keshava Maharaj, he actually disguised himself like Bhaktisiddhanta. And he was able to Bhaktisiddhanta actually dressed like him in the white, and he put on the saffron cloths, and he was able to escape. But most people think he will file a complaint or went to. No, he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything because why? He know the mood of these brahmanas. You know, they were attacking the principles that he was putting forward, that he was initiating those who are not brahmanas and giving them tread. And this was the Brahmanas became very angry with this because they were saying that he is destroying the foundation of the Vedas. Right? So, in 1911, however, he was able to counteract all these Brahmanas. That he gave a speech, right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur was about to give this speech, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very sick. And he sent Bhaktisiddhanta in 1911 to give this speech. And whilst he was giving this speech, there were so many arguments for days. They were having a mela, and all the Brahmanas were debating to find out who is better, a Brahmana or a Vaishnava, who is higher. And Bhaktisiddhanta actually established within a few days, unrefutedly, nobody could argue with him, that the Brahmanas are, the Vaishnava are superior to the Brahmanas. Because the Brahmanas have the quality, Krishna protects two things. Right? The cows and the Brahmana. Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Ka Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. The cows and the Brahmanas are very dear to Krishna. But the Vaishnava is most dear to the Lord. Right? The Lord, he treats his Vaishnavas as his own child. Like anybody attacks them, he's ready to finish them. Like in the case of Prahlad Maharaj or Ambarish Maharaj, right? So, Bhaktisiddhanta establishes, and after he gave this speech, all the Brahmanas there, they washed his feet, and they took this water, and they put it in a bucket, and they put it in a bigger container, and they were distributing this water to everybody to get the mercy of this personality who came to give the clarity that we need, right? And we hear all these things about how he's very strict and how he's very, scholarly and all these things. So we might think, he's not very merciful because he's going to come heavy on us. But he's also compassionate. And his compassion is shown in a very nice pastime, because when he was having the Gaudiya Mats, he was bringing in all kinds of people, young people, scholars, students. And particularly there was one watchmaker in the market, and this guy used to sell watches, right? And Bhaktisiddhanta brought him, tell him, give up all this, come to the temple, become a brahmachari, chant the holy name, and practice pure devotional service, Shuddha Bhakti, right, to Lord Krishna. And this guy came to the temple for some time, he was practicing, but still he was having some problems, And somehow or the other, he got in some problem with a Mataji, with a woman. And the disciples in that temple, if you're living in the temple of Brahmacharya, you're not supposed to mess around any Matajis. So when this devotee had this problem, they kick him out of the temple. So that temple was a new temple, and they had not yet installed the Archa Vigraha, the deities of the Lord. So Bhaktisiddhanta was coming to do the installation ceremony. And when he came to the temple, as soon as he came, he was looking around, and he asked for this particular disciple. Where is this disciple? And the devotees told him, this guy had some problem, and we kicked him out. He said, go and find him. Go and find him right now. How long? I don't see this disciple. I'm not doing any installation, nothing. And quickly the devotees ran to the marketplace, and that person, he went back, and he was selling his watches. And they brought him, Prabhupada. Well, they call Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. And he said, Prabhupada is calling you right now. Come. So when he came back, Bhaktisiddhanta asked him, what is the problem? And, and he's told he's still having some lust. And Bhaktisiddhanta said, okay, no problem. You don't stay brahmachari, you get married. And you still practice. So then he was explaining to the devotees. He said, you know how much gallons of blood it takes to make one person a devotee? How many thousands of gallons of blood you have to preach to this person, and so many things to convince a jiva to accept, to make people chant. You know how much things we do in ISKCON to try to preach to people to accept. So much effort, so much time, all these arrangements we're making for Padayatra, Ratayatra, Sunday feast. All of this is for what? Just to convince people to accept Krishna consciousness. So he said, it's so much gallons of blood it takes to bring persons, don't send them away. Even though that person was having so much problems. So Bhaktisiddhanta is very compassionate. Right? And finally, I would like to give some principles and quotes that he gave to us. right? And one very important principle Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave to us is the principle of Yukta Vairagya. What is Yukta Vairagya? Sanskrit, difficult, but Yukta Vairagya, the principle of Yukta Vairagya basically means, Vairagya means renunciation, giving up something. But Yukta Vairagya, there's also Falgo Vairagya, false renunciation. And Yukta Vairagya means, to understand what it means, first you have to explain something, that Krishna is the owner of everything. We don't own anything. So when we say renounce, what do we have to renounce? If Krishna is the owner and controller of everything, what can we renounce? So Yukta Vairagya means to engage everything in Krishna's service. And previously, the holy people, the sannyasis and the gurus, you're not allowed to use money. A sannyasi is not supposed to touch money or gold. A sannyasi is not supposed to travel in a chariot. A sannyasi is not supposed to travel over the ocean, much less to use cars and dress in suit and tie. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he was the one who actually allowed people to, his preachers, he would send them to England to preach. He told them, you don't wear this chadar and this tilak, you put on suit and tie. Because you're going to preach to these British people and they respect the suit and tie. You know, and he himself would also wear suit and tie to go to these Britishers. And he later on, Srila Prabhupada will exemplify this also, that Srila Prabhupada was using the airplanes and the cars, the Rolls Royce. So that is what he taught us, Yukta Vairagya. Use everything in Krishna's service. It doesn't belong to you. If it belongs to you, you have to suffer material existence. If it's Krishna property, you can use it for Krishna service. And he used everything for Krishna service, even the printing press, and everything what was available at that time was used in Krishna service. So we have like 10 minutes more. There's a few quotes here. I want to give Haridas Prabhu also a chance here. So one big quote he gave, that if you're not preaching, you don't have life. It's good to learn all this knowledge and read all these books, but if you keep it to yourself, a Brahmana or any person who keeps knowledge to himself is like a cracked water pot. If you don't share it, you will lose it. So Bhaktisiddhanta said, one who has life, he will preach. Another quote he said, when he had all the mats and still preaching wasn't happening to the level which he desired, he said, I wish I could sell all these temples and print books. And if one man become Krishna conscious, then the mission is a success. And he was a brahmachari. As we said, he was the son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but he was a brahmachari, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a grihasta. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta said that if he can make Krishna conscious children, you know, he would marry and make hundreds and thousands of children. You know, meaning he would get married and produce children. He was not a fanatic. You know, he was anything he was ready to do for the mission of Gaura. And he also said, if we're not chanting at least 64 rounds, we're in Maya. And many of us, I don't know how many of us can make the chant 64, but Srila Prabhupada gave us 16 rounds and devotional service. So we chant our 16 rounds and we do service, but Bhaktisiddhanta mentioned that if you're not chanting 64 rounds, you're in Maya. And finally, final quote here I'll give, that he mentioned that a time will come in the future where people all over the world will be learning the Bengali language just to relish Srimad Bhagavatam. The Chaitanya Charitamrita. You know, he mentioned that because our whole movement is prophecies, right? That Mahaprabhu predicted, his whole name will be chanted. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, his disciple Srila Prabhupada, fulfilled that mission, and that mission is continuing present day. We still haven't reached every town and village as yet, so we are still part of that mission. But Srila Bhakti is one of the foundation forefathers in our movement who gave us the opportunity to continue. So we still have the responsibility to continue to preach. But he said a day will come when all men all over the world will learn Bengali. Will learn Bengali so that they will able to relish the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. And he said even the soldiers will be Vaishnavas, and even the money, you will not have all these rascals on them. You will have Vaishnavas on them. Imagine money with Gaurkishore Das Babaji and, Jagannath Das Babaji and Srila Prabhupada. This time will come. So we should not be discouraged. Bhaktisiddhanta is that hope. So with this point here, I'd like to end. I don't want to take up much time. I would like to invite His Grace Haridas Prabhu to give some concluding statements, and then we'll go for the arati. So thank you all very much. Please forgive me if I said anything that offended anybody. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Damodar Krishna Prabhu. So as Haridas Prabhu is coming forward, I would like to take this opportunity in acknowledging some dear members. First of all, Sang Singh Ji is here, Didi Singh Ji, and other members from the Office of the Indian High Commissioner. So very happy to have you all over here. So Haridas Prabhu would like to please come forward and share a few thoughts before we proceed for the other aspect of the program.
Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshud Unmilitanyena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langaiti Girim Yadkripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam. First of all, I'd like to thank the authorities here for giving us this extended observance and celebration of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. We had observed his appearance on Friday. We just had a handful of persons present for that program. Today we have quite some more, few more handfuls. So why are we extending this observance and celebration of the appearance of an acharya, of a saintly person? Because the Vedic scriptures is replete. There are so many places in the Vedic scriptures that we read and learn of the importance of this spiritual master, the bona fide representatives of the Supreme Lord. Without the mercy of the spiritual master, without the mercy of the saintly person, the bona fide representatives of the Supreme Lord, we cannot receive the mercy and blessings of the Supreme Lord. Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Shri Shri Gauranitai. So it is of extreme importance that we do acknowledge, we do observe, we do celebrate the appearance of the great acharyas, the spiritual masters, who are representatives, bona fide representatives of the Supreme Lord. Yasya prasado bhagavat prasado, yasya prasadad nagati katopi, dayam stuvam tasya yatra trisanyam, vande guru shri charanara vrindam. This is the last stanza in the Gaurastika prayers, which basically establish the fact that without the mercy of the spiritual master, we cannot receive the blessings, the mercy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord have established that fact, that principle for all of us to follow. Sure, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami in his time was very proficient personality. as we have heard from Damodar Krishna Prabhu, very nicely presenting his wonderful attributes, his appearance. He's a ray of Vishnu. He is especially empowered personality who appeared by the prayer of his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. His father intensely prayed to the Lord, "My dear Lord, please provide someone who can continue this mission of Krishna consciousness, this process of bhakti yoga." Because people do not understand how important it is to surrender oneself in the process of bhakti to the Supreme in this age of Kali Yuga. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was known as the pioneer of Krishna consciousness. He actually revived the whole culture of bhakti yoga. And we have heard from Srimad Bhagavad Gita that of all the various yoga system Lord Krishna presented, Astanga Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, he establishes Bhakti Yoga as the highest. And especially in this age of Kali Yuga, it is much more practical. It is much more effective that we take to this process of Bhakti Yoga. It is given by the Lord himself, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came over 500 years ago. And he demonstrated to us how to engage ourselves in such process of Bhakti Yoga. So this was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami's mission. He wanted to dispel the illusion that was created during his time of this caste Brahmin. People think that they were Brahmin by birth more than by qualification. And it's a very obvious fact that no one can actually become qualified just by birth. A son born of a doctor does not become a doctor just by that, just by chance, just by birth. He has to be qualified. He has to study. He has to go through certain discipline. He has to go through certain examination. So it's a very obvious thing to understand that we can only become qualified by going through a process, not by birth. So this was Bhaktisiddhanta's determination, his boldness, his aspiration during his time. He wanted to let everyone know, and he was greatly respected for that. At the same time also, like I said in my presentation on Friday, he also demonstrated humility despite his great scholarly disposition and position. He also demonstrated great humility and compassion. Generally, when we become very educated, academically educated, or a scholarly person, just that ego builds up in us to make us think that we are such a reputed person, and people should really look to us and respect us and, feel even afraid being amongst us. But despite the scholarly disposition of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, he also showed what humility was. And that was practically demonstrated because he accepted Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj as his spiritual master, who was practically an illiterate. But he knew that Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj was one of the most advanced devotee of the Lord. Completely surrendered, devoted personality. And he had absolutely no objection when his father requested him to take initiation from Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So this is, I just was going through some of what Damodar Krishna Prabhu ended up with, some of the quotes of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And I was impressed by this, what he says here. Quoted exactly, word by word from him. I have been busy within this material world, trying to bring sense gratification within the grasp of my hand. I have often thought that by obtaining the objects of sense gratification, all my shortcomings will be fulfilled. I often attained different facets that were indeed very rare, but my own personal shortcomings were never mitigated. In this material world, I have had the association of even high-class aristocratic persons. However, seeing their various deficiencies, I could not offer them praise. The most merciful Supreme Lord Sri Gaurasundara, that's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, seeing me in such a lamentable condition at such a time of adversity, gave permission to his two dearmost devotees, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji, to grant their blessings to me, because I was always intoxicated with a worldly false ego, wanting again and again self-appraisal. I deprived myself of my own real benefit. But because of the influence of my previous birth's activities in devotional service, I came into the association of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his father, who was the form of my spiritual well-wisher. My spiritual master, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji, would go and visit Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and many times would reside with him. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, out of his compassion for other living entities, pointed out my spiritual master, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji. Upon seeing my spiritual master, the extent of my worldly false ego diminished. I knew that all other living entities who have taken the human form of life were also fallen and low like myself. But by gradually observing the spiritual character of my master, I realized that only a Vaishnava could reside in this material world and be of exemplary character. Only a Vaishnava. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, he demonstrated, he preached, he showed in every aspect of his life what it means to become a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So, we can sincerely offer our prayers and beg at his lotus feet that he give us just a grain of his compassion and mercy, so that also one day we will be able to rid ourselves of our false ego, and we can be able to surrender with genuine humility and compassion, that in turn we can also help others to come to this path of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, I think the next part of our program is Artik, is it? 12:03.
Hare Krishna, thank you Haridas Prabhu. So we can all please stand and come forward for Artik to their lordships, Sri Sri Paramakaranta Gaur Chandra. Jaya Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra. Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra. Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra. Jaya Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Jaya Paramakaruna Jaya Shri Shri Paramakaranta Gaura Chandra ki. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavare Vashachari Shatarini Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gaurachandra Jaya Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gaurachandra Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gaurachandra Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Parama Karuna Nitai Gora Chandra, Parama Karuna Nitai Gora Chandra.
Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra, Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra.
Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo.
Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Shri Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charana Bhakti Vedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotarasada Shri Srimad Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koiti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. ISKCON Spangdacharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem si kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Shri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Navadvip Ki Jai. Shri Ganga Mai Jamuna Mai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Tulsi Maharani Devi Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gauranitai Ki Jai. Brihad Madanga Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Gaura Premanande Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Most Lordship Shri Nitai Gaura Chandra Ki. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembly bodies. All glories to the assembly bodies. All glories to the assembly bodies. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namaste Narashringaya Praladalaradadayane Hiranya Kashipurvakshaha Shrela Tankanakalaye Ito na shrimha parato na shrimha Yato yato yamitato na shrimha Bahir na shrimha Hirdaye na shrimha Narashringamadim Sarana Prapade Narashringamadim Saranam Prapade Tavakara Kamalavarena Kamabhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tano Bringam Keshavadita Narahari Rupam Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tavakara Kamalavarena Kamabhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tano Bringam Keshavadita Narahari Rupam Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nashringadev, 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 Jaya Nashringadev. Jaya Nashringadev, 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 Jaya Nashringadev, Nashringadev. Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Prahlad, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shingade Bhagavan ki jai, Bhakta Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna once again. So just before we proceed downstairs for lunch prasad, which is like the main part of the program, do you agree that the prasad is like the main part of the program? We save the best for the last, as the saying goes. So once again, we're very happy and honored to have the presence of all of you here this morning for today's Sunday Feast program at the Hare Krishna Study Center. And just a few short announcements. First of all, we want to acknowledge and thank all those who have assisted this morning to organize, to coordinate, and to arrange to set up here for the program. Let us put our hands together for all the devotees. So as was announced earlier, today's celebration was or today's program was done in honor of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, whose appearance we observed on last Friday, but of course not everyone could have been here. So we thought of this idea of why not extending the program to today, so that we can all hear more and we can more appreciate more and we can pray to him for his blessings. So we want to thank Damodar Krishna Prabhu, Haridas Prabhu for their presentations as well. So for this upcoming week, there are a few programs lined up. So, first of all, on Thursday, which is the 17th, Friday that is. So Friday is the 17th is Dwadasi, and 16th, Thursday, is Ekadashi. So for those of us who observe Ekadashi fasting, that's on Thursday 16th. The break-in time, or the time to break fast, is Friday morning, 6:09 a.m. to 10:07 a.m. On Saturday, which will be Shivratri, so countrywide, the Shivratri celebration will be here. That is on Saturday. So we at the temple here will be at Kovanjan. Every year we usually assemble. We go to Kovanjan Ashram, where we engage in kirtan and chanting. So we'll be having a normal 6 hours kirtan chanting. That's from 4 p.m. at the Kovanjan Ashram on Saturday, going all the way up like 10 in the night. And of course, we come back here on Sunday morning. We'll have another program here, as you know, actually on our ISKCON Vaishnava calendar, Shivratri is on Sunday for us. So like that, our program will be in that mood, in glorifying Lord Shiva and in observing that aspect. So also today's a few activities are there. We want to acknowledge first of all Baiji or Prabhuji Sang Singh Ji. So for his birthday was just a week and a half or so ago. On the 2nd of February was his birthday, and we're still fortunate to be part of this celebration, even though it's a belated birthday celebration. So on behalf of the temple here, the Hare Krishna Study Center, on behalf of all the devotees, we want to wish you a very, very happy Krishna conscious belated birthday. And also, we have a little token here for you. We'd like to invite Haridas Prabhu to please come forward. Singhji, you can please stand. We have a little offering here for you from the temple. Yes. So you can face you can stand here, please. So this is, Singhji is very dear to our temple. Very, since he came to Guyana, he has been very close with all our programs, and he's been very supportive. So in this way, we want to express our gratitude to him. By loudly, we can all chant one Maha Mantra together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We also have one very special offering here from their lordships, the mala, the garland that was offered to their lordships. Jai Hari Bol, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So we thank you very much, and we do hope that you can live, to experience many more birthdays in this lifetime as a service, with a life that is dedicated to service to Lord Krishna, to Lord Govinda, Lord Sri Ram, and that also you can be, a very nice example in your professional, material life, and also in our spiritual, cultural life. So. Also, we want to appreciate and acknowledge that, he would have assisted in sponsoring today's boga that has been offered to the Lord, and that we will honor as prasadam. So he has assisted to sponsor the Sunday feast. Also, we want to acknowledge the family of the late Lekram Singh Ji. So Lekram Singh is, the proprietor of the Mike's Pharmacy. So on this day, the 1-year Shraddh ceremony was being performed this morning for him. He departed a year ago, and his good wife, Mala Mataji, and the family has took the opportunity to also contribute to today's feast. So we want to, remember, and we want to thank the family and pray that wherever the soul is, that he can, receive the full blessings of Lord Mukunda, Lord Krishna. As we said, the the 1 year Shraddha ceremony was being performed at their residence this morning, not too far from here. And finally, in our presence this morning, we are having also one baby by the name of Luna Freya Singh. So today is her 9th day, basically the 9th day celebration of this wonderful baby. Where is the baby? Can we all have darshan? Is the baby here? Okay, so basically Luna Freya Singh, this baby, she is born to Chaman Lal Bhagawan Singh and Shivani Singh. They are the parents, so we want to congratulate the parents for bringing such a wonderful child. And also we pray, today being the 9th day, we pray that the blessings of their Lordship Sri Sri Paramakarnitaya Gaurachandra Srila Prabhupada can be with this child throughout her life, and that she can grow up to be with a very healthy life, very successful life ahead, and in that way continue to make the parents proud, basically. Right? So thank you all very much, and thanks to all our sponsors for today's Sunday feast. And we want to, if there are anyone here, I know a lot of friends, a lot of colleagues are here of Singhji, Singhji, if you like to please come forward, you want to say a few words and wishing him well, and giving him best wishes, please. Here's the opportunity. Anyone? So maybe you don't want to make us hear. You want to tell him secretly. So thank you, everyone.